Toolbox Tuesday for 2025, but don't you worry because we've already got Q1 of 2026 already planned out. We got more sessions happening, but we're not going to tell you what they are until next week because you got to join us for one more coffee with closers. So look at that. You have incentive to join us again next week on Tuesday, December 16th, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do our final coffee with closers for 2025. And then next week, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're going to show you all the sessions that we have coming up for the month of January. So today, we've got our special guest in studio from Dejavoo. We're going to introduce him in just a little bit. But before we kick things off, as always, whenever we do Toolbox Tuesday, we want to hear from you, the sales agent. So what's going to happen? I'm going to interview our special guest. We're going to talk for about 20, 25 minutes, and then we're going to do a break, and we're going to open it up to you. Well, you can come off mute, ask your questions, or if you want, you can put your questions in the chat. We are going to be actively monitoring your questions as you put them in there. And as always, we do record these sessions. So on the off chance you missed a little bit of information, don't you worry about it. You can always go back and you can watch it when we post this on our YouTube channel later on. And last announcement that I'll make, ladies and gentlemen, if you prefer to use an AI note taker just because it works better for you when you read the transcript versus watching a video, go right ahead. We're absolutely cool with that on Toolbox Tuesday. If you got a note taker, go ahead and launch it. Take free reign, do whatever works best for you so that you can capture all that knowledge. Before I introduce my special guest, ladies and gentlemen, I have to introduce my co-host. Whew, much like Mr. Roboto himself, he's just a man whose circumstances went beyond his control. Ladies and gentlemen, give some love to John Marshall. Hey, John.
Good
If you're
morning,
there.
Scott.
There
Good
he
afternoon,
is.
Scott.
There he is. Okay, you made me a little nervous there, Tiger. I don't know where you were. I was kind of like, whoa, is he on the call today?
My
How you doing?
roboto finger couldn't get the unmute fast enough.
Ah, there you go. Look at that. His heart is human, his blood is boiling, and his brain is IBM. Ladies and gentlemen, that is John Marshall. But you know what? We didn't come here to talk to John today. My God, we came here to talk to somebody super duper special, and he is from Dejavoo. He's quite possibly one of our favorite people. And we are going to rock out today. By the way, he was the one that picked out today's song, so you guys better give him some love. Ladies and gentlemen, give some love to Larry Roberts from Dejavoo. Larry, bring it in, my man. Where are you?
I am here. Thank you, guys. I've got to give a little grief though to Albert. He said that he was only 1 year old when that song comes out, and he called me an old fart. So, Albert, you're in
Wow.
trouble. I got you.
And and ladies and gentlemen, it was at this point that we determined that this will be the final Toolbox Tuesday ever because now the guest and the agents are talking smack. Here we go. Larry, it's good to have you on here, man. I do. You and I have known each other forever. I'm sure a lot of agents on this call know exactly who you are, but you know what? PayCompass has gone through a lot of growth in 2025. I know I can see a whole bunch of brand new faces on here. So tell you what, Larry, I'm going to hand it over to you first. Just kind of introduce yourself, a little bit of your background, and after that, just kind of dive right in. What is Dejavoo, and why
Sure.
should it be top of mind with all of our agents?
Definitely, definitely. So, yes, I have been in the industry a long time, probably since Albert was born, little smartass. But we met with PayCompass when I was with a another company that y'all still use, and we brought them on, and PayCompass has grown so much. So I've been with Dejavoo now 3 years, and once I came on board here, we really got ramped up with y'all, and it's been a great experience. I've been to a few of the PayCompass parties, and being the only non-Dejavoo employee to be invited to these parties. I feel pretty special, even if I'm not, but I feel like it. So, and what I really want to get into with you guys today is some of our new P line terminals because they're on our gateway and they have all the bells and the whistles. You can do the QuickBooks Online and the level two, level three, 3D secure. I mean, just they offer everything. So that's kind of what I wanted to jump into today. Like Scott said, though, if y'all have any questions, either put them in the chat, or I don't know, Scott, do you want to raise your hand, or what? However you want
No,
to handle it, we can do that.
we
And
we keep it
again, I'm
absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say we keep it absolutely informal over here, Larry. We don't do the whole, hey everybody, raise your hands if you've got a question. We're just like, hey, you know what? When we break, you just come off mute, you get your questions right out there. So Totally cool, my man.
Sounds great.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. So yeah, I I love PayCompass. I think the way y'all are doing business is incredible. I love that y'all put the agents first because I think a lot of, the competition out there that y'all are competing against is not that way. They are focused on themselves and their profits, and whatever. Y'all are doing it the right way. You're getting good people. Your people have a great reputation. I send y'all leads all the time. Anytime a merchant calls me and they want merchant services, I give them PayCompass. And and I have some other ISOs that I might send a lead or two every once in a while as well, but y'all are definitely top of the line for me. All right, so I am going to just jump on in here and I am going to share my screen. It says you cannot start share while
All
the
right.
other participant is sharing.
If
Okay,
I could have my producer in the background set him up as a co-host, and we'll get you rocking and rolling on that one,
all
my
right.
man.
You just let me know when.
Now,
Should
Larry,
be
one of the things.
done.
There we go.
Okay, do you want to continue? Yes. All right.
No,
Now,
if you want, yep, go ahead.
there we go. All right, let's make sure you're
Fantastic.
seeing what
We've
are
got
you
it.
seeing what we're supposed to see, Scott? Okay. All right. So,
Yep. Go ahead.
all right. So for y'all, um, I think as a salesperson, our website is a very good tool for y'all. And the reason I'm saying that is because everything that you're going to need to know is in here. But what we're going to talk about today is the P line on the gateway. So when you go into our main page, it'll pop up and it'll show you a little bit about every one of our P terminals. And then you can also look at a 3D model, which I think is awesome. So let's just go down to the ones I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you the P8. I'm going to show you the P12 and then the big boy, the P18. But what is really cool about this, if y'all are out on an appointment, excuse me, I was in New York since last Thursday until Sunday, and I kind of lost my voice. But anyway, I'm still loud. So when you click on the 3D model, it'll actually go right into the model and you can grab it and pull it and show it to your clients. So this way, instead of having to walk out there with an actual terminal, you can just show them everything right there on your phone or your iPad or whatever you want to do. So a lot of good information right there. Um, Also on here, if you're looking at our online payments, you want to check out anything in there. It's got all that information for y'all. So there's a ton of great information in here. And then, of course, if you just want to go to a specific terminal, just grab the P12 and it'll take you just to that P12. Yeah, go ahead, John. What you got?
Like while you're there at all the terminals, can you give everybody a real little recap of like the Z line versus the Q line
Yeah.
versus the P line and how they differ, how they're
Yeah, sure.
similar, benefits, etc.
Okay, so on our Z line and our QD line, they are what's considered Steam in our system. So they can be done as just a standalone terminal with no monthly fees, no bells and whistles. The merchant just wants to run credit cards, get their batch report at the end of the day, that's the Z and the QD. Those are great for everybody. Now, they do have what's called de novo, which is back office reporting and send payment links and text and things like that. It does come with a monthly fee, though, then. So, depends on really what you're wanting to do. Now, the QD line and the P line can both be on our gateway. The P line can only be on our gateway. It can't be on Steam at all with no monthly fee. The difference in the Z and the QDs are they're using a software of ours called Aura, and then our P line is called DV Pay Lite. So a lot of stuff that is going to jumble your brain, you really don't need to worry about. Just know that if you just need a standalone terminal, they don't care about reporting, they don't care about anything else. Z and the QD is perfect for that. If they want everything else, that's going to be the P line on our gateway and that type thing. So
Larry, very quickly, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
one of
go
the
ahead.
things I wanted to jump into, just because throughout 2025, not so much a rumor per se, as much
Okay.
as there's been some
End of life.
speculation. End of
End of
life on the
life.
Z series. Is that even true?
No, no. So the Z series is probably 12-year-old technology. The terminals have been around for 12 years. Of course, they're just like everything else. They have updated through the years, and so has the internals. And we are still selling, probably 50% of our sales come from Z terminals. So they're not going anywhere. We will update the PCI as often as we need to. We're updated through, I believe, 28 right now. So yeah, they're not going anywhere. They're not end of life. Now, that doesn't mean that some processors may be a priority or somebody might end of life them themselves, but that doesn't mean that we're end of lifing them. So that's kind of a rumor that's out there that's not true. And so getting back to our hardware, so the Z line is actually made by Castle. So we're not a hardware, we don't make the terminals. We buy them and then we do all the internal the software inside. Z lines are Castle. The QD lines, which is like the QD2, the QD4, all of those, they are WizardPaws. So that is a different company altogether. The Z line is Linux software. The QD line is an Android. So as you can see with Android, you have a little more flexibility. They don't tamper as easy. They're just a better terminal. That's why the QD was a step up from the Z, and we left those on the same platform. The QD, though, also we can load with our DB Pay Lite for our gateway, and so it can go either way on those. The P line is actually made by Kozen, Kozen. They are another company that makes all of the P line and our tap on phone and everything that we have from there. So probably very confusing. If y'all ever need any information, reach out to me directly and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Right.
Larry,
So
Larry, if you don't mind, very quickly, just because I want to
yeah,
go back to something, because I
yeah,
want to make sure that we don't kind of like gloss over it. You
sure.
made the comment, you said the QD, and you're talking about the Z series, and you were saying
Yes.
standalone and not a lot of bells and whistles. You said that pretty much for anybody, but you know what? If we could just kind of define it, so this way for our agents, when they're out and they're in the field and they're going,
Sure.
well, that guy Larry said, they're pretty basic and they're pretty much made for anybody. What would you say are some of the use cases where our agents can go, you know what? I'm going to set up this merchant so they don't have any monthly fees. It's going to be a standalone terminal. It's very basic, the QD series or the Z series. What are some of the examples where our agents should be thinking this is a good opportunity for either one of these series?
I think they're going to know this by knowing how they're doing business already. So this is going to be y'all's questions when you're asking them. If right now they are just on a normal, Ingenico or fax or something that they're not having, any kind of gateway access or they don't have any of the bells and whistles on the terminal, then yeah, Z and a QD is perfect. And that's just your mom and pop or maybe if you're in a smaller area of the country, maybe even in Maine, they might not need all of the QuickBooks Online and this, that, and the other. Same thing in Texas. We've got areas of Texas where they're just like older, they don't want the new tech. They want something where they can just press in the sale, they get the transaction done, and they get a batch report at the end of the day, and they're done. So I think those are your smaller opportunities. They're not as sticky, what I call sticky, meaning that
Yeah.
that is the merchant that you're going to sign up, and then a month later, somebody's going to come in and go, "Oh, I'll save you a nickel, on your report." And they're like, "Okay, oh, and here's you a free terminal." Well, once you get them on our gateway and they see all of the different things that they have access to do and all the different marketing and digital ads that they can put on the terminals and level 2 level 3 autofill, 3D secure for their e-commerce. We also have WooCommerce shopping cart. So I mean it's got everything. So once you get somebody on the gateway, they're not as easy to lead because a month later they come in and say, I'll save you $50 a month. They'll go like, well, I've already got everything I need here. It's not really worth that $50. So I think that's
So
kind of where you're going from there.
yeah, and I was going to say, you're actually dropping some really good knowledge on that as far as using it as a selling tactic. So, just like a hypothetical situation, if I'm a sales
Sure.
agent, I'm just earning trust with this small mom and pop shop. They really don't need a lot of bells and whistles, but I can go and kind of go in there and set them up on the ground level so that they become a Pay Compass customer. But as I continue to work with them, as I continue to build a relationship, earn their trust, start to dive in a little bit deeper. And what I'm hearing, Larry, is you can just kind of get your foot in the door with either a QD or a Z, but once you've earned their trust and
Exactly.
you start having real business conversations, it's beneficial to get them on that gateway and upgrade them to that P series, correct?
Exactly. I think that's, perfect example because once you get them just enjoying Pay Compass, then you can say, Mr. Merchant, let me show you what else we have to offer. Let me show you. And then this is another reason that you guys as sales agents, you really need to work with PayCompass and get your own demo logins so you can actually go out with your laptop and show what I'm going to be showing y'all here in a minute to your merchant. It's one of those things that once they see it and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, I like that. Because in the gateway, everything that they're doing is immediately shows up in the gateway. So they don't have to wait till the end of the day, like on a Z or a QD. If they have a transaction that they're looking for, they would have to either go through the terminal somehow and find that. With this system, they can just go in, put in the transaction, last four of the digits, and it'll pull up that transaction. They can see it immediately. They don't have to wait for the transaction to batch out or anything like that. And if they don't have back office reporting on their Z and the QD, they're actually not going to have any access to their reporting at all, except for what they get from the terminal on their little printout at the end of the day, which is basically just their batch report or server reports or things like that if they are a restaurant. All right. So the website's great. It also shows all of our release notes and anything like that. So our resource center, you can go in here, quick reference guides for all our terminals are here, material guides, manuals, everything, release notes. So video library, this is awesome. If you need to go, see any of our videos, they're going to be in our video library. All right, so this is actually the dashboard that your merchants are going to have access to. So they're going to be able to come in here, all of these little purple boxes they can click into and it'll show them more information. So it'll give them, their totals. They can also click over here and go by trend, by device type, by channel. Anything they're going to need there. If you have somebody that has like 10 stores, they can filter by their store. TPN is a terminal profile number, so each one of these has its own TPN. They can also label these or y'all can label these for them however they need them labeled, like store one, store two, Dallas, Fort Worth, Maine, whatever. They're also able to filter by dates. They can see all of their numbers, and then down here their boxes, so they can see their total sales, their tips, their fees, all of that stuff on their front page. And as a salesperson, this would be a big selling tool for me because I would go out to my merchant and I would say, look, before you ever open your store in the morning, you can go in and you can look and you can see your trends from last week or last year or last month or whatever it is. You can kind of sculpt your day around what you're seeing on your dashboard. So everything is at their fingertips right here. They're also
Larry,
able to set, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I
What
was
we
going to
got?
say very, very quickly, man. So you're showing this as far as pays goes. You're saying that it's available to other customers. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're kind of differentiating here. Am I understanding correctly? Like, regardless of whether you set them up on a P series QD or a Z, they get this, or is it just the P series
No,
only?
this
As
is
far
just
as
for the QD or the P that are on our gateway.
all right,
Yeah,
so there we go,
yeah,
friends. QD,
yeah.
P
So
series, they're going to have
Z's
access
are
to this.
never, yeah, Z's will never be on our gateway. They're always going to be on our other system. Uh, we have different names for things, but DB Pay is just our Z and QD that have no gateway capabilities. QD or P, it's called DV Pay Lite. That is our gateway. So, but just know that the P and the QD on our gateway will be able to see all of this. They'll be able to see their transactions in real time, all of that. So this is what your actual merchants are going to have to log into and see. And of course, where it says iPospays up here, you'll have PayCompass or they'll, whatever you need for your logo. So y'all will be able to set this up however you want. Now, your merchant is going to be able to set up users under under their login. And this is what, if y'all are going to set up your agents, y'all have a demo login like what I'm in. You'll be able to give them access to their own accounts and to log in. And it's real simple. So you just add a user, put their first name, last name, email, their phone number, and a user role. And under here, let's say that this merchant has 10 different stores. So he's got a multi-store manager. Now they can pick what stores they want them to have access to, and then they can also have permissions. So let's say that they, don't want them to be able to see reports for whatever reason. They can just turn that off, or inventory, or my customer, whatever. They have the ability to set their users up however they want, and they can have as many users as they want. They're just sent a link. They log in, they set up their password, then they're able to have their own login underneath PayCompass's login. Steam, this is where edit parameters and things like that are. So all their terminals will show up here, and they'll be able to look at that. Now, like I said on transactions, as soon as I run a transaction, it shows up in the dashboard. So I actually have, I have all these transactions I've been running this morning, getting ready for y'all. As you can see, it tells me everything I need to know. The last four of the card tells me what the fee was, tells me the full amount, the tip amount, everything, how it was done, contactless, Wi-Fi, all that. Down here at the very bottom as well, I've got this synced up with my QuickBooks. So now I've got a QuickBooks invoice number with every one of these transactions. When I go into Intuit and log in, that will sync with that. It'll be matched up. 1988 will be this transaction. Also, when I use a gold card or any kind of business card or something like that, it qualifies for level 2, level 3. And right here, it tells me, yes, that did qualify. This was not an e-commerce transaction, so I didn't qualify for 3D Secure. But as you can see, everything is on here. These terminals will also do offline mode. So if I was in offline mode down here, it would say, yes, it's in offline mode. It's not now. I'm in regular mode. The merchant also has, hey, Scott, will you do me a favor too? Will you take an eye in the chat because I'm not
Yep.
able to go back and forth. It's
Yeah. Matter
y'all are
of
gonna
fact, tell you what.
confuse me too much. My AD&D, I'll be going everywhere. But
I'll tell you
yeah,
what. Get through a little bit more content. After that, tell you what. Maybe the next 5 minutes, we'll jump in. We'll do some of those questions in the chat. How's that sound?
sounds good to me. All
All
right,
right. Rock and
so
roll.
when you're in the receipt or transactions here, the merchant has the ability to view the merchant copy or the customer copy. Cool thing about this is you got a merchant and they have a customer that came in yesterday. They're on a business trip. They forgot to get their receipt. They need it for their expense account. They call the merchant. They go, hey, Mr. Merchant, I forgot to get my receipt. Do you have it? Sure. Let me get that. All right. Now give me your email. I'll just email it to you. Boom. Now you've got their email address. You can send them marketing later, that type of thing. So you've got all that information. They also are able to put digital ads, QR codes, whatever they want on the bottom of these receipts that can be either paper receipts, e-receipts, both, however you want to do it. Another option here is they can just print it to their own office. So if I'm a merchant and they go, I want to come by and get a copy of it, no problem. Just print it off to my back office, change it into a PNG, that type thing. Now, the merchant has access to do voids and refunds right from the dashboard. So this is incredible. They are going to love this. They can do full or partial. If they only need to give them $4.80 back, they can do that right here. Now, this is one of the things that is going to be no-brainer sales for y'all. You're going after a restaurant. The restaurant manager at midnight every night when they close probably goes in his back office. He goes and starts doing the tip adjust, doing the tip adjust. You know, by 1 a.m., he's done all the tip adjust. He asks everybody, "Are y'all done? I'm about to batch out." Bam, I batch out. One guy runs up there, he's got $100 tip that he needs to add in. Well, you're kind of screwed in the old way, not with us. All they have to do now with us, even after a batch, is go to the more button, hit additional off, and they can run additional offs day or two after a batch, no problem. So that is a big seller for your restaurants and things like that. CloudPOS, this is the virtual terminal, the send payment links, all of that information is right here. And there's different ways. Quick pay, you can send a payment link, you can do a pay now, or you can actually have a pin pad connected to this. Let me show y'all this. This is pretty darn cool. So we've got a pin pad. I'm going to make this a little larger. Now let me find my pin pad. Here we are. Right. So now my pin pad is waiting on a transaction from the virtual terminal. The thing about this is I can be in Fort Worth, Texas. That terminal can be in Maine. I can send the transaction because it's all cloud. So it doesn't matter. They don't have to be in the same location. So this terminal is just waiting for my transaction. So if I put in my $100 transaction or $100, hit send, hit OK, and proceed. Now it's going to switch over to my terminal. It's going to say, okay, run that sale. Now I can add a tip. I can do dual pricing. So I've got cash or I've got card. Once I get ready to run the card and I just tap to pay, let me find the tap. There it is. It runs that transaction. It says, okay, approved, happy, sad. I'm happy always. Now it's back on spin. But let's say that I ran into this situation here recently. So I've got a bunch of doctor's offices that use this system. And what they're doing is they're keeping this pin pad on the counter for whenever their office manager sends it payments. But now, let's say you're in the waiting room and you've got a $20 copay. Instead of having to wait on your way out, they can just pull this terminal, hit the bypass button, and now it's a terminal. They can walk this into the waiting room, hand it to me. I can run my $20 copay. When the doctor sees me, I can just leave. I don't have to wait around. So this is another deal. So you can just run it as a regular terminal, or you can put it back in bypass mode and it's waiting on transactions. So that's pretty slick. And also another use case for y'all is car dealers. Car dealers love this because they have parts and sales and service. They might have a terminal in each location. They have an office manager that's sending payments to the other, different departments. Same thing with your doctor's offices. There might be 10 doctors under one office, but they want to run the payments. They'll have one person running the payments. Just pick over here where you see the drop down on my dashboard. All of their different TPNs would be there and they could pick which one. So they could say Dr. Roberts, Dr. Roberts, Dr. Marshall, Dr. whoever. And then pick that one, and then it will run that transaction. And like I said, they don't even have to be in the same location. One could be a Dallas location, a Fort Worth location, a Waco, they could be all over. So that's pretty cool. All right, let me get back to this. All right, Scott, how do I move this little ribbon that is up here? I can't see my stuff.
I would say just
You
give
know
it a
what?
drag.
Here, I got it
There we
figured
go.
out. I'll just do
Yep.
that. All right.
And I was
So,
going to say,
uh,
just very quickly, Larry, to you, the audience, keep your questions coming up in the chat. Larry, we're going to jump into these questions in just a little bit, but I'll let you just kind of continue on here. And we do have a whole
yeah, let
bunch
me
of
just
questions
do
coming in, my
a
man.
couple of things here, and then I wanted to actually show you the P12, the P18, and my P8. So what we'll do is we'll do that after the questions. So,
You got it.
all right. So on the The quick pay, again, this is just your virtual terminal. When you're in pay now, you can do dual pricing on here as well with Paya. So if you have Paya ACH, y'all can set that up and then they're able to do true compliant dual pricing with that. And as you can tell, I've got it already set up that way. So when I go in and put in $200, it says 208 or 200. So you also have the ability on here, there's a little black button. You can remove fees as well from here. So you have options to do whatever you want to do. Itemized billing, you can add inventory items to a receipt that you're going to send out. I'm not going to get too deep into that because it takes a little while, but I'll show y'all one of those here in a second. On the invoices, you can actually see like the one that I was just working on, it says pending. So over here, $20.80, I can copy this link, resend it, I can cancel it, I can mark it as paid, or I can delete the invoice all the way from there. Now, if I want to view the invoice, I can go in and it will show me a copy of that invoice. It'll tell me where it came from, where it went to, what the invoice number is up here, and then what items were paid for. So when they get this, they're going to get a link that's going to show them the invoice, and then there's going to have a link that they click on to pay. So they're going to have both right there. Reoccurring payment. They can set up as many reoccurring payments as they want. So, they can have thousands of these. Batches, they can set these up. They can look at no, they can view a batch, they can settle a store, they can do whatever. The cool thing about this, I was talking about like 10 different stores. With this, they can settle all stores at once. They can settle them separate. They can do whatever they want. That's, the good thing about having a system like this compared to maybe a Z or a QD where you don't have access to all this. You're not able to just go in and look at open batches or look at closed batches or whatever. So up here where it says open batches, I can look at closed batches. I can also filter by I want to search by a store or search by a TPN. Then I can also look by closed batch, open batch. So things like that. My customer is what I call the vault. So they're going to be able to have all of their customers in here. And then as you can see with these customers, all of their cards are stored in here and they're already tokenized, encrypted in our system. So you can actually run sales from here. You can update a card from here. You can also go in and add a bank account, add a card. You can edit the customer, add reoccurring payments, send a payment link, all of that from the vault. You also have the ability to add a customer. Maybe it's a brand new customer, you just want to add them. Just put in all their information, hit add. They also have the ability to filter. So they want to filter by a DBA name or whatever, all that. So any of these pages that have the little funnel, that's your filter. Like on transactions, when you go into the filter, it gives you tons of options. If you just want to do, let's say you want to do a custom report, you can go into custom, pick a date. I want to go the 1st through the 9th. And then once you hit OK and you go to search, now it pulls all my transactions through the 1st. Then I can also download that report. So there's so much stuff in here. I mean, it goes for days. So I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible and not just blow y'all's mind with too much stuff today. But on the My Customer Vault, they're going to love that option. You can also migrate customers in. Say y'all have somebody in Shopify or somebody in Clover, and you want to migrate all those. We can do that as well. So there's a lot of really cool things in here. In the settings side of it, this is that little smiley face. A lot of our merchants say they don't want that. Just turn it off. It's that easy. Same thing with the negative. Turn that off. Now, here's what I would suggest. Turn on the positive and turn off the negative because, who wants to get negative feedback? But, that's just my suggestion. Settlement reports. They want to get an email every day when they get a settlement report. You can do that. You can send a consolidated end of day. You can send an instant TPN report. You can do that. You can enable store alerts. So you got all kinds of options here. You can pick what stores, whatever you need to do. Reoccurring payment alerts. They want to get a alert every time a reoccurring payment comes through. They'll get an email. WooCommerce plugin. They can do that if they have a shopping cart they want to do. Integrate with QuickBooks. It's as simple as two buttons. Their system actually goes and finds their Intuit login. It says login. They press a button. They connect. Everything's synced. It's very simple.
I was going to say, Larry,
Resource.
very
Yeah, go ahead.
quickly, since you brought up QuickBooks here, and since I know that we still have the P12 and the P18 that we're going to cover here, we actually have some questions that kind of tie into everything on the gateway.
Yeah,
So tell you what, let's jump
let's
in
do
if you
it.
don't mind. Let's do
Let's
some
do it.
questions. All right,
Let's do
cool.
it.
First question out of the gate: is there an extra gateway fee with this terminal?
Yes. Yeah, all these, anything with a gateway has a monthly fee attached to it. Now, PayCompass might, you know, absorb that. I don't know. I am not here to talk prices or fees or anything. That's y'all's PayCompass internal. I'm just here to sell you on the product. There is a monthly fee though, yes. And
All right,
that's why I was
excellent.
telling you the Z's and QDs can go no monthly fee if you got somebody that doesn't need all of this and all they want is a terminal to run credit cards. Maybe they have an old cash register or something like that. Get them a Z, get them a QD. If they want all the what you're seeing from me, they're going to need a monthly fee. But for $10 a month or whatever it costs them, it's worth it. I mean, the return on investment will pay for that in no time.
Yeah, and
What's the
even then
next
too,
one?
I'm sure. I was going to say, I'm sure that more than enough of our agents can find those opportunities where somebody's a little hesitant to pay a monthly SaaS fee. Absolutely. Then you can lean
Yes.
into that QD, you can lean into the Z. But as we
Yeah.
mentioned previously, use it as an opportunity to get your foot back in the door again and espouse the benefits of this. Larry, here's some more questions for you.
Okay.
I'm assuming the question has to be in regards to the portal itself. Does it have to be on a laptop, or can we do this on our tablets and kind of
Do it on
different?
whatever you can get a browser.
Okay.
It's a web browser. So I mean, I can do it from my iPhone. You can do it from your iPad. You can do it
So pretty
from,
much
whatever, anything,
anything with a browser. All right. Another
anything
question.
with the browser.
Is the register light fee of $6.95 or $9 per gateway license fee?
Okay,
That
Scott, anything that's
that's
asking
that.
about fees, let's
Yep.
skip because
Yep.
I'm not the guy to
Yep.
ask that.
I was going to say if we can get somebody from our team to actually address that
Yeah,
question in the chat, that
yeah.
would be fantastic. Question: is there a cost to integrate with the QuickBooks? I'm assuming that's going to be yet another fee.
Again, yeah, it's all in
Okay.
your Schedule G. So yeah.
All right. So
So
leaning into
yeah,
our
there
support
there
team, if you can.
there
Yep.
is fees. Now we're working with PayCompass to do what's called a one fee. So everything will be included at one price. So at some point soon that will be available for y'all. So it'll make it much easier. You can just say turn everything on and there's not going to be a nickel and dime here.
Yep. Okay.
But that's
I
a
was going to
that's an
say some of.
internal that's an internal thing as well. So I
Yep.
probably shouldn't even have said that. But anyway.
No, and I see I've got some of my team members jumping in, answering these questions to my team on the back
Okay.
end. Thank you very much for doing
Good.
that.
Thank you.
But Larry, let me throw this out to you from a Dejavoo perspective. Is
Sure.
there a video demo created by Dejavoo of the gateway functionality that our agents could show to their merchants?
100%. So when y'all log in to your dashboard, demo or whatever, there is a video library. You can just click on that. It takes them straight to our YouTube page. You can hit search and search for whatever you're looking for, and it's all in our YouTube page. So, and also on the website where there was videos, you can follow from there as well. So yeah, we've got tons of videos.
Excellent. All right. So it looks like my team handled the majority of the questions when it comes
Okay.
to fees and things along those lines. Fantastic. Larry, let's switch gears because we've got
Okay.
two pieces of equipment that we have been teasing these folks for over a month about now.
Yes.
When you and I and John and Jeannie and we sat down and we were creating the outline for this Toolbox Tuesday, you blew our minds when you started talking about the benefits of the P12. Now, just to kind of lay the groundwork here with our audience, when it comes to the P12, historically, a lot of these agents went out there and they would have to say, "Hey, you know what? We can set you up with a Bluetooth card reader that you can pair with your device and everything else." But what Dejavoo is doing is they're saying, "You know what? Take that. Don't do that anymore. We got something called a P12 where we can kind of eliminate that altogether." where we don't have to do that. So what are we talking about with the P12, Larry? Bring it
All
home.
right, so I'm showing you right now on the screen. You do see that, Scott, right? The P12.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is a tiny, small terminal. It has on the top, you can insert a card right there, like that. Insert the card. You can also tap to pay. So you're going to have to email or text receipts from here because there's no printer attached, but no big deal there. But what I've been running into is like an unattended. So let's say the other day I actually did a demo for a church, and what they want to do with this P12, because it actually comes on a little stand as well, as y'all saw when I was showing the 3D image. They're going to put it, they have these candles that you light and then you tithe. They're going to have this set up where it's going to be on inventory light, and the inventory light's going to say donation. They're going to just be able to press how many they want to donate, tap their card, move on. So that's one use case.
Larry,
I
how
think
much are they?
don't ask me prices. Y'all need to talk internal about prices. They're not
Okay.
much though. They're
I
not
was going to
much.
say
Sorry,
to the
Blake. I'm
person,
just not. I'm not the price guy. That's something y'all got to ask internally.
Blake,
Gotcha.
if you go to the most recent hardware pricing sheet and Navigo, download it, you're going to see that the pricing for the P12 is already listed in there, my friend. All right,
Awesome.
go ahead,
Okay.
Larry.
All right.
Sorry
Thank you.
about that. No, no
That's
worries.
okay. No. Don't worry at all. So as you can tell, though, any key terminal that I'm showing y'all, even the tap on phone for the Android or the iPhone, it's the same software. So there's, no learning curve on, moving from a P1 to a P3 to a P5 to a P8, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're all the same. That's another thing about the Z and the QD. Those Aura software, if they were using Z's for 10 years, they're not going to have any learning curve using a QD because it's the same software, so it looks the same to them. So when you're upgrading somebody from a Z to a QD, that's a good selling point for y'all. Oh yeah, no, it's going to be exactly like what you're used to with the Z. The terminal might look a little different, but the software is the same. All right, so on this one, the little hamburger at the top left, that's your quick reference. So you can do a void. It's going to go to the void screen. It's going to pull up the most recent transaction, which I haven't done one with this yet. But if I want to pull it up by transaction number, I can do that. Or by card number, I can do that. I can also go back and do a refund. If you'll notice, it's going to ask me for my password. What is that? 5409. There we go. Now it turns red. So you're not going to have your merchants calling in going, hey, we ran a sale thinking it was a refund. Well, it turns red. It's in parentheses. It says refund. I don't know how you did that, but anyway, you can't fix stupid sometimes. Pre-auth. So if they want to run a pre-auth, same thing. If they want to run the ticket at the end of the day, all of that information is right there for them at their fingertips. The little gears and all that is normally on the bottom to make this work on this small of a screen. They did a little different. All of these will do Spanish and English, all of our terminals, and the dashboard can change over to Spanish. So very nice concept for our country now that we have a lot of Spanish speaking. The little gold star, everything they're going to need is right there. Anything that's not lit up, I don't have, set for this, but they can reprint receipts, they can run reports, they can do everything they need right from there. The headset. So the way I'm showing y'all the terminals is through AnyDesk. So if you hit the headset, it has remote diagnostics. That's how y'all can actually log into your merchant's terminals and not have to be on location. We also have demo videos on these terminals. So let's say they need to know how to run a void. All they have to do is hit the void button. It's going to run them through doing a void on the terminal. So this is awesome. You get a brand new merchant signed up. By noon, they're calling you going, I don't know how to run a void on this new terminal. I don't want it. Send it back. You know what, Mr. Merchant? Just hit the headset, hit the void, and watch the video. It takes about 15 seconds. You'll be so happy you won't need, and then that way they're not having to call you every time they get a new employee that doesn't know how to run a terminal. They can just say, go watch the video. It's right there for you. So that's the P12. It's awesome. It'll be for your taco trucks, your small boutique, anywhere that needs something, or like Scott said, handheld, Bluetooth, they can just do that. All right,
All right.
let me go into
I tell you what, Larry, let me throw a couple of questions out here at you
yeah,
because
go for
I
it.
want to, I want to continue the conversation regarding some of these use cases. So you're
Sure.
saying taco trucks, you're saying salons. You talked about an example with the church where they're doing the
Yes.
donations. Now that device, man, right in the palm of your hand. So obviously Wi-Fi, a
Yep.
no-brainer. So
Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Yeah, it's got
ce-
everything. And you can do a SIM card.
cellular.
SIM card, yeah. Yeah,
There
this
we
is a
go.
SIM card for sure. So really, honestly, all of the P's are SIM card except for the P1. That's the only one that doesn't do a SIM card. All the others do. So, I mean, they can all be Wi-Fi and great terminals. I mean, y'all are gonna really you're gonna love these. But the P12 being smaller, less expensive, maybe your swipe simple people, this would be good to move them away from that. I'm not trying to, say move everybody from swipe simple, but if it's something you're looking for, this would be a good option for that.
Larry, let me throw
All right,
another use case at you very quickly. All right,
sure.
so since you're talking about limited inventory, when you were talking about that church as an example,
Uh-huh.
how much do you want to tithe? How many candles do you want to burn? And it gives them like a limited inventory. But just to kind of continue upon the use cases, could something like this be used in a services industry where they have a very basic inventory being,
Yes.
uh,
So let me
let's
show you,
go ahead.
let me show you that. So on my P8, there's a little button up at the top that looks like a shopping cart at your Walmart. You can put 400 items on these terminals. 400. Now, you can't do modifiers and things like that yet, but if they just want, it's called light inventory, they can put 400 items on these terminals, any of them, the P12, the P8, the P3, the P1, any of them can hold 400 items. Cool thing about this as well is like on the P8, I actually have a barcode scanner built in. I can scan items into my terminal from there. I can also add items. Hold on, go back. Okay, I can add items straight from here. If I just want to add an item, I can add an item from here. And this is where I was talking about earlier. I did this for a church. So I had donations. So if they just want to add donations, oh, I want to give 4 of them. Okay, perfect. They can do that. They can go down to the bottom, check out, bam, tap their card, and they're ready to go. And I've got this set up as a restaurant, but of course, if it's a church, they probably would have tip off, but who knows? You don't know. Uh,
I was
all
going to say,
right.
Larry, probably one of the funniest comments that just got posted in the chat was, and this came from Matt. He said, I can't wait until I go to church again so that I can see them passing the P12 down the pew so we can do our tithing. So
That's
nicely
right.
done, Matt. That's
You
actually
know
funny,
what?
dude.
You know what? And that's funny, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So get ready. Scott, I mean, I don't want to keep everybody too long. We only have 10 more minutes, and I've got an hour's worth of stuff I could keep going. So why
Yeah.
don't you either ask me some questions or let me know where you want to guide this because like I said, I could go for days. I haven't even
No,
got
and
to
I,
the P18 yet. So
No, we're going to jump right into the P18 right now. So just a quick recap on this, everybody. As far as that P12 goes, we're talking about some of those use cases. For the most part, Larry provided the example as far as, the church using it as a charity level, but I want all of you to think outside the box. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular enabled. Think about some of those merchants that you may have talked to previously, albeit the landscapers, the plumbers. And back in the day when you set them up on, a different platform, you probably said, hey, you know what? If you download this software onto your phone and I can set you up with a Bluetooth reader and you compare the two together, now you can go back and visit and go, hey, you know what? What if we take everything off of your phone, Mr. or Mrs. Merchant? What if I set you up with this device that's called a P12 since you got a limited inventory? Now we're no longer capturing information on your phone anymore. Now we don't have to worry about reconciling that. I've got a device right here that you can take right out in the field and do whatever it is that you want to do. So the P12 pricing, if you go into Navigo, go to Documents, click on the hardware pricing list. We just updated it on December 1st. You can see that P12 pricing is actually in there. And honestly, it's a pretty good price point on that one too. Larry, the
Really is.
P18, man, oh man, dude,
Okay.
when we were hanging
All right.
out in when we were
Let's
hanging out in Wausau back in September, and you guys had your Dejavoo booth set up, that was the cream of the crop. This was like you blew all of our minds. You were sitting there going, "Yeah, it kind of sort of looks like a POS, but it does so much more." So, Larry, this was pretty much the biggest reason why we wanted to do this today. What are we talking about with this P18, my
All right.
man?
So the P18 is an all-in-one. It can be a terminal. It can be our POS. It flips. So the merchant facing, customer facing, it's got a barcode scanner on it included. It's got insert chip. It's got tap to pay. It's got swipe on the side. It is incredible. It also has a little quick release right here. So if I want to take it off and go carry it around my location and use it as a table side, taking orders or whatever I want to do, I can do that as well. It'll snap right back onto the stand just like that. Very simple to use. Right now, I've got it with Register Lite, but it will also have Deja Pay Pro on here as well. So if I just want to use it as a terminal, I can just go in here, run a transaction, put in my server ID, hit OK. I got my custom tips. I can get ready to pay. It has my fees, everything there. Now I've got all my options. I can do send payment link. I can enter the card. I can tap to pay. All you have to do is hold this card somewhere close. Now you can sign on the screen if you want to. And then, of course, you have your text, email, print, or no receipt. Now, these don't have a printer attached. You can have a Bluetooth printer if you need one, or you can have another terminal attached as well, or you can just hit no receipt like I always do. Transactions complete. It's done. Now, on here, of course, Register Lite is already set up, so it's on the main page. Of course, you can add as many items as you want. As you see at the bottom, it's going on my card and cash as I go. So it's adding up the dual pricing as I go, which is really cool. So I'm gonna get out of there for just a second though, and go to this again, my shopping cart. It will take me right into my inventory. So I've got all of that at my fingertips. Again, I can add items, I can refresh straight from there. Really cool. Let me go back to where I was trying to go to. Where is it? Here we are. All right. So down at the bottom, that's all of your settings, your reports, everything's right there on your screen. Now, this is where you can actually go into our DV store, which is an app store. So DV store is where our Deja Pay Pro lives. So where is my Deja Pay Pro? I don't see it in here now. Well, I'll have to get it back. But anyway, when I open up the DV Pay Lite, that's going to go back to my main screen with my inventory and all of that. But anyway, you can definitely add anything you want on here. It also has all of the connections down at the bottom here, so you can plug in Ethernet, USB, phone line if you still have phone lines. All of that kind of stuff is right under the stand here. It's heavy too. This thing probably weighs 10 pounds with the stand. It's not light. It is really nice though.
You
And
know,
this is going to be, for anybody. I mean, they're probably somewhere around $400. I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking price, but all in one, everything you're going to need. People are loving this. It's really good if you have like integrations with anybody that you're going to want to work with. They can put their own POS system on this. So like Samba, Tonic, we've got a ton of different POS companies that have integrated into our system into the P18s as well. There
John
was
Marshall,
one.
I saw your hand.
I
John,
got a question too.
Yeah,
I
go
was
for
gonna.
it.
Go ahead, Blake.
Um, this relates to me and John.
Okay.
We had a customer, a golf course, a couple of a month or so back that had um, It doesn't have a PO. She has a POS, but it's not very good.
Okay.
And anyway, I was wondering if Dejavoo could, John, you could probably elaborate on what we were trying to do as far as getting her that, that I forgot what it's called, but I don't know if you remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, it was a house account, but you're
House
leading me
account, yeah.
you're leading me in the right direction, Larry. I wanted to ask. You talked about Register Lite, but the Pro POS, right? You said Register Lite is
Okay.
limited to 400 items, no modifiers.
Yeah, so really, Deja Pay Pro, if you've got somebody that needs a POS system, our inventory light isn't for them. They need to go to our Deja Pay Pro because then they can have table settings and modifiers and time clock and food delivery. They can have everything. This is just somebody, maybe your taco truck that has 10 items, and or maybe your little light boutique or t-shirt shop or music festival where they're selling tickets, beer, t-shirts, and 20 other items. That's perfect. I had a
Wait a
guy the
second.
other day that
Cut
had the P1.
64 first day.
Like which one?
Sorry.
You were cutting out, Blake. Go ahead. Oh, maybe he wasn't talking to us. But I had a guy the other day that had a music festival. He actually was using the P1s, which aren't even wireless, but he had hotspots all over the music festival. He had like 80 P1s, and he never even had them plugged into power. And they're supposed to be plugged into power, but they have the same battery as the P3. And I didn't tell y'all this, but it stayed unplugged for like 8 hours during this music festival and never lost the charge. So you're not supposed to be able to do that, but you can.
So
So he did this music festival, and like I said, he had beer sales, he had t-shirt sales, he had all that with the inventory light. That was all they needed. They didn't need a full-blown POS. And so, you have opportunities to use this in ways, but don't go in thinking that, it needs to do what a POS can do. And then, I'll have people, they'll go, well, if it would do modifiers, well, our POS Deja Pay Pro will do modifiers and do all of that. So if you need that, you're going to have to pay a little bit more and move them over to that system. But this is great. And actually, our developers, we just had a meeting in New York, and they said that they're going to work on putting modifiers and things like that on the inventory light. I wouldn't say it's going to happen immediately, but that's something they're looking at.
so
All
so
right,
Larry,
Scott.
a
Go ahead,
follow-up.
John.
A follow-up, and we talked about that other brand that starts with swipe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I want to just focus in on that, right? This device has the integrated EMV readers and tap to pay. You need that B350 that's hanging out on a little cord in them. But
Exactly.
here's the trick. Does this in any way link with a cash drawer?
Well, so if you're on Deja Pay Pro, yes.
So
But
I think
like I
that
said,
is
this is not a POS. I mean, it's an inventory light. So no, it's not going to connect to a cash drawer unless you add our Deja Pay Pro software. And then yes, it can. And we sell the cash drawers $100 or something like that, but you can buy whatever cash drawer works with it. Same
right.
thing with like kitchen printers and things like that. They'll work with kitchen, not our inventory light. It will not work with cash register, but if they put Deja Pay Pro, the P8 can work with the cash register, the P12, the P18, all of that. So it's got to have the Deja Pay Pro software within it before it'll work. I hope that answered the question.
So just to follow up, you could use a handheld terminal running Deja Pay Pro and take order
Yes,
and pay at table.
yes,
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
So like on this one, let me just show you here. So the P8. So when I go into the P8 and I go to the DV store, it's going to pop up with Deja Pay Pro. So I put Deja Pay Pro. Now it's in my P8. I can go carry this around, pay at the table, do whatever I want. I want to go to the menu. I want to go to my mains. I can go to Southwest Chicken. I can put how many I want. And my Deja Pay Pro is right there. And then also you can go in and go to the settings. Everything from Deja Pay Pro is right there in my P8. So I can go into returns, voids, X and Z reports, tip adjust, all that stuff's right there at your fingertips. But it's got Deja Pay Pro in here. But as you can see, my P8 can be Deja Pay Pro, or I can just be on DV Lite and just run it as a normal terminal, and I can go back and forth. So, there's a lot of power in these P8s. I'm telling you what, this is my favorite terminal I've ever been around, and I've been around a lot of them. So y'all will really you'll be able to sell these like hotcakes, I promise. And of course, it's got the barcode scanner like I showed you earlier. You can scan items in. You can also go into tutorials on here. So yeah, it's got a lot. It's
And
got a
and
lot.
just to
Larry, I know
clear,
you're biased, but how would
I'm
you
very
compare it to
biased.
Clover?
I got to be honest. I think Clover's awesome. I don't
Yeah,
know a lot about Clover because honestly, I never sold it. I tried to stay away from First Data, Fiserv with all my
yeah.
might, and everywhere I've ever
I'm
been.
I'm the same with you, Bubba.
But 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 don't get me to. I'm not going to bad talk Clover because evidently it's awesome. But our Deja Pay Pro is probably half the price, half the fee, and you get Deja Vu, and you get our
Yeah.
service, which I don't know about Clover service, but anyway, I know ours is top notch.
so
I
so
got you.
Larry, let me
Well,
do a follow-up. You mentioned a limit of 400 items on Lite. Tell me about Pro. What guidance is there?
I
Nothing.
mean, until you run out of inventory, there you can put whatever
Okay.
you want on there. But I am not a Deja Pay Pro expert, honestly. Y'all should probably maybe next year have a Toolbox Tuesday on just Deja Pay Pro, and they'll come on. We've got a great team out of Puerto Rico that works on that 24/7. My buddy Andreas will do a demo for y'all, and they can answer all your questions on that. Because if I started answering them, I'd just be BSing because I don't know it that well.
Perfect.
All right, well, Scott, I mean, I'll stay on here as long as y'all want, but we're over the hour, so it's totally up to y'all, whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, why don't we just do a quick recap, but in the same breath, let me throw it out to you, the sales agent. My gosh, we covered a lot of content today, but I'm sure that you still have questions. So right now is your opportunity to put your questions into the chat, or do like we always do. You can just come right off mute and ask your questions out there. Quick recap on that P18. So Larry, you say light inventory on that one. So for the most part, any business owner, they can utilize it kind of like a light version of a POS system. But when we say light on
Exactly.
the inventory, no modifiers, no substitutions, anything like that. It's just straightforward
Yep.
widget one, widget two, no
Yep.
bells, no whistles, no modifiers, no colors, anything along those lines. It's just sell your items, use it as a payment device. And as you were showing previously, the ability for them to just kind of type in the amount that they're going to charge, they can flip that screen to which their
Yep.
customers can swipe, dip, tap, make that payment over to them. I see another question coming up in the chat. Can the
Another thing, Scott,
P18
with
be?
that P8, the other thing with the P18 too
Go
is it
ahead.
can be connected to any other terminal. So, like if you wanted a P8 connected with the P18, you could actually have the P8 to go walk around and do, transactions as well. So it can be connected to, and then you could use this for your printer. If they needed a paper receipt, you could have that as a printer. There is one thing I wanted to, before you ask that question.
Go ahead.
So all of these terminals can have digital ads on them. So the P18 is pretty unique. The P18 can have digital ads on the full screen or half screen. So if you're going to go sell that to a merchant, what they can do is they can be running specials on the terminal when it's in idle mode instead of just being sitting there on a transaction screen. It can be running ads. It can say buy one get one free or do this or that, or they could even possibly partner with somebody, maybe Visa or MasterCard or somebody goes, hey, if you'll put an ad for us on your screen saying, use your Visa or MasterCard, get 4% cash back or something like that. Might do something like that. So there's a lot of thinking out of the box ways to sell that digital marketing. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead and ask some questions.
Yeah, I got some questions that popped up in the chat for you here. Can the P18 be set up like an electronic cash register complete with a cash drawer?
Yeah, no cash drawer.
No cash
Unless
drawer.
it's a POS, unless it's a Deja Pay Pro.
Got it. Can you speak to the L3 capabilities for the future with these stricter visa
Yeah,
rules?
we've got set up with CEDP, but I'll be honest with y'all, it looks like to me, the only way that's working very well is if they do if they add an invoice item to it. So I'll send y'all the information that I have on that to John and Scott, and y'all can pass that out. Go ahead,
Quick,
John.
quick
Gotcha.
curveball. How about nickel rounding?
Oh, I don't know anything about that right now. I know that we were working with a company called Roundup, and they were integrating to us, and it was going to be like a Roundup charity type thing, but I've never heard anything more about it. So I don't know. I know it's not going to happen before the end of the year, but we've got something in the works about Roundup.
All right, perfect.
All right. What else you got, Scott?
All right, I'm actually going to throw it out there to the audience. This is your time. You got
This
the
is it.
expert on the
This is
call.
it,
This
because
is
we're
it.
about to go crazy.
We're about to go nuts. And folks, you got to keep in mind, Larry was the one that kicked off the first Toolbox Tuesday in January. Larry is the one that is ending Toolbox Tuesday for 2025. So look at that. You got the expert on the call. We don't know when he's coming back again. It might be springtime,
Oh, I'll
might be
be back as
summertime.
soon as you want me.
Oh, you'll come back. I know. We're just teasing you.
Hopefully there'll be a Pay Compass party coming up that I'll get an
Hmm.
invite to. We'll see.
I don't know. I actually know people that can get you on that list, but we'll talk about that later.
All
Craig
right, all
Bosley, I
right.
think I saw you came off mute, my man. You got a
Yeah.
question for?
So you can put the Dejavoo Pro on the P18. Is that what I'm understanding? And then the cash drawer would work with it.
Yes, yes. And
Copy
but
that.
okay, so just like I said, I'm not a Deja Pay Pro expert, but yes, you can do that. But the only thing is, this is probably over $400. They can actually put our Deja Pay Pro software on any tablet. So they could put it on their Android, or they can't put it on an iPad because it won't take NFC payments. Or, well, no, they actually can put it on an iPad. They just wouldn't be able to take payments, tap to pay, or that kind of thing on an iPad. But it would be a cheaper way to go if they just bought a cheap Android and put the software on there and then paid the monthly fee. But yes, this can do the Deja Pay Pro. It can also just do our normal gateway product. So it can be a standalone terminal or a POS, either way. All right.
All right. Question for you. This is
Yes, sir.
Rod.
Hey, Rod.
Um, Hi there. In regards to a two-location towing company,
Okay.
what what terminal would you recommend?
Tap on phone. They can put it on their own Android or their own iPhone. They're not going to lose their phone, but you give them one of these and they're a tow truck, I bet it gets crashed or wrecked within a day. Now, if they don't want to use their phone, use the P5. The P5 looks like a terminal, and it's got the insert chip, it's got the tap to pay, it's got the swipe on top. So it's got everything they're going to need, and it's a little heavier. We also have a little silicone protector they can get with this. I would say the P5 is your best bet if they don't want to do tap on phone, because some people don't want to use their own phone, which I get. Or they could even go like what I did. I went and bought a cheap little Nokia Android just so I could do my demos on it. So they could do that as well.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Hey, Rod, call me anytime you need something too. I get on demos all the time with people, try to show them what we've got.
Okay, appreciate that.
All right, guys. All right,
And
Scott, we're
and by the
wrapping
way,
it up.
I'm proud of you for going out and buying the Nokia. Man, I remember the days when you used to do your demos on that BlackBerry. Whew, that was rough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
those Blackberries were awesome. What are you talking
they were.
about? All right, guys. Well, listen, man, I
Audience,
I I really appreciate Pay Compass. I love all you guys. I will be here to help you in any way. Y'all have the best owners in the world. Justin and Nini are incredible. And everybody else internally. I'll give Chris and Rob a little love too. You know.
you should. You really
All right,
should.
guys.
All right.
All right. Well,
So,
hey, Scott, do me a favor. Send me a copy when you get the recording too. I just like to have it, in case I
yep.
get bored at night, I'll watch it and put myself to sleep.
Yeah, I'll let you know when it gets posted on our YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, before we
Awesome.
wrap, let's give a little bit of love to Larry Roberts from Dejavoo for bringing it all home in 2025.
Thank
He was
you.
our final Toolbox Tuesday guest. Larry, domo arigato. Thank you, my man, for joining us here today. To you, the
Love it.
sales agent, we are not done doing webinars as of yet. You guys have one more happening next week on Tuesday, December 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be our final coffee with closers. Our CEO, Justin Volrath, is going to kick it off. He's going to give you all the updates with everything happening in the industry. And then after that, that's your opportunity. Come off mute and ask him any questions that you got. But as always, if you get stuck, please do not hesitate. Reach out to us. More than happy to help you on your journey here at PayCompass. You can send an email to sales@paycompass.com and we'll make sure we get you taken care of. And until we meet again, everybody, rock on, stay heavy metal. And Larry Roberts, thank you so much for being our guest panelist today. Until we meet again, stay safe, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.